Hi, this is a video response to Kay, and I'm going to link her channel down below about her not vegan video. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for your kind, positive words and your thought-provoking sharing of your life experience on YouTube and the way that you present everything. It was so good. And thank you to everyone who commented and was nice. And thank you, Kay, for your bravery for posting that video and for reminding everyone that doing the right thing is sometimes difficult. Because it is. A lot of times it's difficult. And you did great. And I'm glad that your comment section was filled with mostly love and appreciation and positivity. There is a couple things I wanted to say. The first thing to say directly to you and also to everyone else is, even if you can't have a garden, one thing, you would probably even know this already. I was looking at the background and I thought, I bet some of those plants behind you are edible. And you said that you want to like explore and learn about cultures and all this other stuff when you're traveling, which is awesome. Like, props to you. I totally would be down with that if I liked going anywhere, but I don't. But when you go to different countries and stuff, part of what you can do is learn foraging and learn about their local diet, which that's a huge, awesome thing, is eating locally. And not just that, but getting back to your roots of indigenous diets. And I actually just touched on this in one of my last videos called Not Brushing, like you don't have to brush your teeth. The reason why is because when people were created, we were created in the world and we had everything we need to survive and live a happy, healthy life. And we weren't created with a toothbrush in our hand so we could brush our teeth. In fact, it's your eating pattern and what you eat that takes care of your teeth, and also when you eat. Because hunter-gathering people did not eat as much as people currently do with the standard American diet. And I also talked about fasting. Anyway, what I would recommend, and what I would recommend to everyone wherever you are, it would probably be a lot harder to do this in a city where you're just surrounded by pavement and not near land that grows greenery. But everyone, wherever you are, should go out and forage and just find like one thing that's edible, like dandelions, right? Where I live, people don't like dandelions popping up and they mow them down. Dandelions are so good for you. They're like nutritionally dense, and I can't say that they taste delicious. I guess it kind of depends how you cook it. And if you put honey in your tea or something else like cinnamon. But the point is, like, dandelions grow. They sprout up everywhere. And people just don't even consider that it's food. There's so much food. Just foraging is so good. And when you're traveling, if you start doing it, it's a great way to like meet new people. Obviously you would do that anyway, but like to make friends and to have like good traveling experiences and good life experience by learning about local food. If you ever go to Africa, a big staple food is cassava. And I think if it's not prepared properly, then you can die from eating it. I could be wrong. I would fact check that. Don't listen to me. But my grandmother lived in Africa, so she told me a lot about cassava. And that's like, it comes inside of your trees. So when people have an abundance of food around them, they don't have to cut out the innards of tree bark because they can buy a bag of Cheetos, which is unsustainable. And if you have to cut down all your trees, that could be unsustainable too. The thing about it is you really have to find a balance, which you touched on in your video. The other thing I wanted to say is, since you're living in a van, which props to you. I love van life. I wish I have a camper now and a motorhome, so it's looking like I'm not gonna have van life. But I like to sleep in my car, and I'm getting a bigger car also, so I might I'll have car life instead of van life. But anyway, since you're living in such a small space, another thing you could do is something simple like grow sprouts. Like you get one little mason jar and just sprout some sprouts in it if that's what you like. Like find something that you like and just grow that. It's pretty easy. And the other thing is buckwheat. You can start sprouting your own grains. With buckwheat, I think you just take it, lay it down on a flat surface, like on a plate or something, and then you just spray it with water, a spray bottle with water, like every day. You want to keep it damp. And then when they sprout, you eat them, and you have your own fresh sprouted grains. And so as far as local food, doing what you can to grow your own food in your situation, I would recommend that. Obviously, when you live in a van, you can't be like, I'm getting a pet cow. Unless you had a trailer to attach to your van, it would be very unsustainable. The cow needs an acre. You have to do what you can within the limits that you have and within the capacity of your life to make a difference. And making YouTube videos is one of those things. And I loved your video. It's so good. And I'm not vegan, and I never have been vegan. And I'm lucky that I live in Vermont, which is a place where local food is very important. And like down the street, I have neighbors with chickens, so I can go buy eggs from them if I want eggs. Like I know, or I have the ability to know where all of my food comes from. Do I still buy Cheetos at the dollar store? Yes, I do. Maybe probably 3 times a year at the most. A, because the packaging is unsustainable. B, because it's oil. It's not real food. And then as far as sustainability with veganism, you have like palm oil that wreaks havoc on the environment. And you have all kinds of other stuff like water, okay? Bottled water. Look at this. Boxed water is better. I saw this at the store and I bought this because I thought it was amazing. This is actually a lot easier to drink out of a plastic bottle because of this thing. You just like that. It's so much better. I love this. I've reused this 4 times already, which I reuse plastic bottles too, but the plastic chemicals can leach into your water, and I don't like that. And although this has an aluminum lining, if you are into this, you should check out their website. I really love, 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 love water. And again, this plays into sustainability because usually my preference is to buy water that doesn't have fluoride in it. I do not have a filter. I would like to have a Berkey filter. One day, I might achieve that dream after I save up money and then somehow have $300 for a water filter. I don't know. Well, I'll make the part myself. I see that's another thing though. If I use 5-gallon buckets to make it, I don't want my water in plastic. I like the metal container better, but it's $300. Anyway, this is besides the point. I guess it's not. I'm saying as far as sustainability, buying this, I spent $2 on this. I've reused it 4 times. I love this bottle. I was thinking will I enjoy drinking out of this? It's kind of it can't fit in a cup holder. This is great. This is so great. And I do have other water bottles as well, but they're kind of MIA right now. So for me, when I was really dehydrated and needed to buy some water and I saw that was great. But I'm just saying, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. In this company, I am going to do a water review on this. I was thinking about it. I called them. Their website is fantastic. And I'm wondering who owns them and if they have a parent company. Anyway, I don't want to talk about the water. That's going to be a separate video. This is a video response. Stay focused. Yeah, I told you about foraging. I told you about a simple thing such as sprouting or growing sprouts, like something small and compact that is gonna aid in you having a greater connection with your food and a greater food experience. that's another thing I wanted to talk about is food culture. Just real quick. Food culture fascinates me. I believe that food is medicine because, like I already said, when we were put here on the earth, it was just us and the earth and the Most High, God. But we had everything we need to live a happy, healthy life. And people are what removed us. We removed ourselves from that. And now we have a responsibility as people to move ourselves back towards that. And that involves sustainability. And it kind of involves, not kind of, I think it really does, like 100% involves thinking about your impact, because it's not just your impact on the environment, it's your impact on the animals, and it's your impact on other people. How are your actions affecting other people? Wow, I wasn't thinking of this, but that's a good segue into my other point that I wanted to discuss is the label of veganism. This is the biggest stumbling block of why I would not become vegan, is because vegans put themselves in a box, and then from their pedestal box, they judge everyone. Oh, if you're not vegan, and this is like, it's not everybody, but it's most of the vegans that you see on YouTube. It's a lot of, you don't love animals, you don't care about animals, you hate animals because you eat meat, because you eat eggs, because you eat fish. And then you have what Kalel said in her video. She was vegan for years and years and years. She did it for ethical reasons, and she, loves animals. But she also, I think, had a car that had leather interior. And what do you do if you have a car with leather before you become vegan, and then you're vegan for 5 years? Like, what point do you transition into, oh my gosh, I need to buy a new car now because I'm vegan and I can't have this? And she also said, like, sometimes, no, I don't think sometimes. I think just in general, she likes buttered popcorn. Why can't she have buttered popcorn like once a year? What's wrong with that? Why can't you have buttered popcorn and be vegan? Especially if your buttered popcorn comes from the dairy of a cow that's your pet, that you had to milk so that it wouldn't be suffering and pain because it had a baby and the baby didn't drink its milk. Well, that gets into a far-fetched example, but the point is, people place themselves in this box, in this label, and to what extent do you, I'm sorry, my sister's calling me and I keep declining it, because if I answer it, it's going to turn off this video, but I'm almost done. People put themselves in a box and in a label. What extent in your journey do you make these decisions? Like, why can't you be vegan when you've been vegan and put so much time and thought and effort and energy into it, and you're so passionate about the animals because you do it for ethics? Like, why do you have to buy a new car because your car has leather? Or why do you have to get rid of your shoes that you got from your great-great-great-grandmother family heirloom because they're made of leather? Or like me, my grandmother, after both of my grandparents died, I found a Coach purse from her, and I kept it for years and years and years, and it was leather, and I actually just recently got rid of it. But you should be able to keep those things that are sentimental or that you can't afford to upgrade or whatever, and still be vegan when you have all that passion and love for the cause. And it's the label in the box that I have a problem with. And then all the hate comments and a lot of other I'm not vegan anymore videos, people were like really hateful and mean in them. And that in itself is a reason why I would not, like, it's the biggest stumbling block is what it is as far as wanting to be vegan. And then we have the fact that I'm going to have animals, like a little farm, and it's not sustainable for my life. And also, I like eating eggs. I like eating fish. If I go fishing and I catch my own fish, like, that's great. Like, to me, that's great. Why wouldn't you want to celebrate that? And then you have, again, back to the natural order of things. The natural order of things, because I believe in the creation story, originally, people were vegan. It was Adam and Eve. They lived in a garden, and they, had all the fruits and vegetables and dominion over every creeping thing in the earth. And so then what happened is they ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and they realized they were naked. And then God came and said, "Who told you you were naked?" Because they were scared and they were hiding, because previously they had the knowledge of good, and after they ate from the tree, they had the knowledge of evil. That's how they realized they were naked. And so what happened, and this goes into religion and Passover, but this is like the first time an animal was ever killed or slaughtered. Animal sacrifice. And also, I know that's a separate topic from this, but when you get into animal and human sacrifice in different religions and things, like the God of Molech and stuff, it's just another thing to look into, and also can play a part in sustainable / not sustainable living. And that's just an interesting facet that goes into a weird kind of rabbit hole thing with this whole veganism type of thing. There's a lot of those that come into food manufacturing and stuff. Anyway, what happened is they had a pet lamb, and they loved the lamb. And because they needed clothes to wear, God slaughtered the lamb. And because he didn't want anything to go to waste, because he's a sustainable God, they had to eat it, and that's how they started eating meat. That's also why in Christianity, the meat sacrifice is favorable and the vegetable sacrifice isn't, because that was Cain and Abel, which was Adam and Eve's children. When Cain did his vegetable sacrifice, he didn't have that love and attachment for his sacrifice because it wasn't an animal. The same way that vegans say they love the animal. Can you imagine if you sinned and God had to kill the animal so that you could have clothes? Because they were naked. This, in the creation story, this is when people were first clothed. You like having clothes. It's nice now that we can buy clothes like from the store, and they can be made out of cotton and things. But from the beginning, that's not what happened. And then part of the reason why is because God was showing them how much he loved them. I don't feel like I'm explaining this very well. Dan does such a better job explaining, like, because this is it's really about the Passover. This is like the first Passover. But it's interesting as far as this whole meat animal thing is concerned. It's interesting to look at other religious aspects of it. And that was when the first animal was killed. Adam and Eve in the garden, they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, realized they were naked, and then God slaughtered the lamb to clothe them. But when he did that, it broke their heart, and the reason why it had to break their heart is so that they would understand that when he sends his one and only son, it's going to break his heart the same way. Wow, that was heavy. I'm going to end this video. Shalom.